Hey everyone, happy Thanksgiving morning. Welcome to another episode of Mimi Food Stylista. Thank you for joining me today where I'm gonna make cooking Thanksgiving dinner easy for you as well as tasty. Now, a few things you're gonna need to get. If you're just starting to do your turkey, you wanna go get salt, some pepper, maybe some seasoning salt, whatever you want to make your rub with. I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to make the rub, and just going to give you some quick little pointers because I know you got to get that bird in the oven because you got people that you need to feed today. So let's get started. Okay, so it is so important to bring in flavor when you're cooking Thanksgiving dinner. That's like the most important thing. People want something that is so flavorful. And unfortunately, I was working yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to pre-shop and get my turkey so that I could have marinated it all night. When I got my turkey yesterday, it was frozen, so it's thawed now, thank God. But I'm gonna have to make sure that I give this turkey enough flavor in my rub right now to make sure I get every little nook and cranny so that that flavor comes out in the turkey, because we don't want a dry, tasteless turkey, right? Now, one of the mistakes that people make is that they think that they have to go out and buy all of these things to create the perfect rub. But I'm going to show you a way, quick, made easy, that you can get the results that you want just from the simple things that you already have in your pantry. Now, I'm going to start with a little seasoning salt, okay? So we're going to take some little seasoning salt. There you go. And I'm going to just creating a rub for myself. And seasoning salt is one place I would begin. I'm also going to use some minced onion. Onion just has a way of bringing out the flavor like nothing else, I think. I have a little garlic with some pepper. I'm going to make that as part of my rub as well. First, I'm going to give it some salt. And a little extra pepper for a little extra kick. So then I'm just going to mix these together because I'm creating now for myself the perfect rub for my turkey. Got all these different colors going in here. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. So you can see I'm just kind of mixing back and forth here. You can put it in a Ziploc bag and shake it up, however you want to do it. I just thought that this was a very fun, a very soothing way to do it. Kind of reminds you, because those of you who know me know that I'm also an event designer. Kind of reminds me when communion is being taken and the couples that have decided not to do unity candles, they do the unity blending of the sand. So this is what this is reminding me of. But can you see? I'm gonna let you have a look at that right there. See all those colors? That's everything that I have mixed in there, and it's going to give me the perfect rub and the perfect flavor for my turkey. Okay, so for the sake of time, I am going to marinate this bird, and then I'm going to put it in the pan, and I will show you how I do a pan. Basically because I'm doing things non-traditionally the way I would normally do them, because I wanted to try it a different way. Normally, and I will share with you, the way that I get my turkey so nice and juicy is I always put it in a bag. Now they have these bags called turkey bags. I don't want you to think you can just go get any old kind of bag and put your turkey in there just because that makes it easy. That's not the easy and the tasty that we're talking about. What we mean is that you can take a turkey bag and it's going to seal in all of the moisture and the juices in your turkey. So it's going to be very, very tender for you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to emulate that same process by using aluminum foil. So just give me a moment. I'll be right back because I need to go and apply all of my nice little rub that I just made onto my turkey. Okay, what I did was I took about 4.5 feet of aluminum foil like this. I have a pan at the bottom, and I have put this aluminum foil 4 feet worth. I'm going to set my turkey in here, and then I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil, and I will show you that in a minute. Here we go. Here's our lovely turkey in its new home. It's called a pan. And as you can see, my aluminum foil, I'm just gonna take it. But first what I'm gonna do is, the base of this pan, I'm going to put water, just as the base. That's going to be the moisture that the turkey is going to absorb and stay tender, so that it's a tender turkey, it's not dry. And the rest, there's a lot of moisture already in the bird, especially in its cavern. I'm going to put onion in the cavern. I'm going to put some peppers in the cavern, and that's going to give it the flavor that it needs also. But it's also going to create a moisture chamber for my turkey to stay moist, so that it's nice and tender and juicy. We're gonna proceed to cut the vegetables up a little bit so we have some to put inside the turkey. You know, this year I'm gonna use red pepper and a yellow pepper. Traditionally, my mom always used green, and I've always used green. I guess I should have asked God to let them have me a green pepper. I had so many miracles, y'all, at the grocery store yesterday. It was astronomical. I mean, the things that I was asking for and they didn't have, and they just appeared because the stock people had them in the back, and they went and they found them for me. I don't know why I didn't ask them for a green pepper, but it's okay because these are sweet, they are juicy, and we're gonna use this. Look at the color, nice and colorful. I'm gonna use this for my dressing, my cornbread dressing that I'm gonna make, but I'm also gonna use some of this to go inside of the turkey. So, as stated, I'm Mimi Food Stylista. I didn't go to culinary school. My grandmother taught me how to cook. My mother taught me how to cook, and I just have a love for cooking. So, my chopping is not perfect, but I have a knife and it can cut, and that's the most important thing. I'm also going to be using this red onion as opposed to white onion. My mother always used white onion when she made dressing, but I tend to like this, the way it makes the dressing taste a little bit better, so I'm going to use the red one. So let me be chopping away. Like I said, I am not a culinary chef as far as going to school, but see, my knife works just like theirs does. Cut it. Just takes me a little bit longer, that's all. One of the ways you can really make cooking easy as well as tasty, which is what we subscribe to with Mimi Food Stylista. A lot of times when you go in a grocery store, they already have the meddling of your bell pepper and your onions already cut up for you. All you need to do is just get them. And believe you me, I was looking for the simple way last night, but I did not see any of those, and so I just kept it moving because this isn't really that big a deal to me to cut these up and get these ready. So just a little tidbit for you. Here we go. There we go. Veggies all cut. So what I did with some of those veggies is they're already sauteing in the pan in the back. I'm going to wait till those onions turn to look kind of translucent. Then I'll know that they're ready, and then I can incorporate them into my mixture for my dressing. Yes, I make cornbread dressing. My grandmother wouldn't have it any other way. We don't do the stuffing thing, y'all, not with the bread and all that stuff. Stuffing's good, I've had it, but cornbread dressing just tastes so much better. It does. I have put my bird in the oven. Look at that. Now, I ain't trying to offend nobody, but I highly recommend, if you're going to do it method like this and not use the bag, and you're going to use foil, you really want to use Reynolds Wrap, because Reynolds Wrap, it is the best aluminum foil because it cleans. Other foils will open up on you, but not Reynolds, okay? So the little plug for Reynolds, there's just my preference. You can see she's packaged real nice and well in there. I've got my flaps right here, so when I open her up, you know, it's not going to leak or anything. So that's that. So we'll let this cook for, ooh, it's going to be in there for some few hours now, y'all, because it was a nice sized turkey. But we'll eventually get to the big reveal. Moving on. Next thing we're going to work on is our dressing, our cornbread dressing. And must I say, I am so excited, y'all, because I have 2 ovens. See, all my other stuff is going to go in this other oven. Turkey got an oven all to itself. Y'all have no idea how excited this girl is about having a double oven to be able to cook in, because I don't have to take that bird back out, just oven to baste it and to look at it. my oven's gonna just stand there and cook. Now I'm gonna work on my sides. I'm gonna work on my greens. And this year I decided to mix my collards and my mustards together. I just think the flavor is astronomical, and I invite you to try it, you know. And when we get to greens, we'll talk about greens. We're also gonna do a little mac and cheese, you know, how I stick my foot in that mac and cheese, okay? And we're gonna work on the way that you're gonna be able to make cornbread the easiest way you possibly can. Now, my grandma, she used to make everything from scratch, but since Mimi makes things easy as well as tasty, what I'm gonna recommend is get you a good cornbread. This is one of our favorites right here. You can see it. Honey cornbread, that's one of our favorites. It's so easy. Let me tell you, all you're gonna need is a square pan. You're gonna get 2/3 cup of milk. If you're doing it in a square pan, you're gonna get a 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. Any kind of vegetable oil you wanna use is fine. You know, corn oil, whatever you want to use, canola. And then melted butter. You can use melted butter to substitute the oil. And just one single solitary egg. That's all you need. See? Very uncomplicated. Even the worst chef in the world can make a decent cornbread. You get a good cornbread mix, and then just apply all of your ingredients together, which is what I'm about to do now. I've already put my 2/3 cup of milk in there. I'm gonna get my one solitary egg. Get one little egg. That's all I needed to do with that. Okay, so after you add your pack in here, then the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna blend. I am not gonna use my blender just because it is early in the morning here, and I am not gonna wake up those babies because they will mess up my video. So I'm gonna have to use a spoon. Just a regular old spoon, and I'm going to get some much needed arm exercise in here and just stir it. That's what I'm gonna do. Just stir it up. See? Just stirring it. Let me put this so you guys can see. Just gonna stir. Doesn't matter how you stir, just as long as you get it all stirred up nice and good like that. It should look like cake batter when you're done. See that? Just like a cake. And it's nice. It's not too lumpy. It's not too watery. That's the right constituency for me. There you go. There you go. So that's why they didn't give some measurement, because you use the entire box. This is a one-time only. You know, sometimes when you buy cornbread, you could just use a cup of it, a cup of half of it, depending on the brand that you buy. Okay, this is my green segment that I promised you guys. And this time I'm going to do collard greens as well as turnip greens. And you might say, Mimi, you're holding up bags of greens. And I say, yes, easy. Remember, easy. No longer do you, unless you just want to, because it's therapeutic, to take those greens off the vine and pluck them and clean them and cut them up and whatever. I'm going to put these babies in the sink. I'm going to wash them, and then I'm going to proceed to cook my greens. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some smoked turkey, okay? Smoked turkey that you can find in the produce section. Well, actually, no, it's not in the produce section. It's right next to produce. The way they have ours set up, it's the last install in the meat section. So it's really like where the produce begins. You can stop by there and get you a package of smoked meat. It can be ham hocks. Turkey's a little bit healthier to have healthy greens. And I'm just going to put it in there and let it cook for about 20 minutes, simmer a little bit. And then I'm going to add my greens and all of my seasonings. It's just that simple. And I will show you that result when I come. Sometimes it's quite difficult to make these videos because the kids just want to be here. They want to be involved, but they're noisy. Hear that? Well, anyway, going forward, as you can see, my greens, I have placed them with the meat now already in the pot. My easy bagged greens. Now, I like to use a chicken stock. You can use any kind you want. You know, for a while my daughter was a vegetarian, So she would use vegetable stock. So you can use beef stock. You can use whatever you like to flavor your greens. I usually try to get Swanson brand. That's just my brand of choice because they have a lower sodium. They have a lower sodium brand. You can buy the full sodium brand if you want, but I'm trying to eat a little bit healthier and make my greens healthier, so that's what I'm going to add. And you really don't need to add that much. I only put 3 cans in. One I put in before you saw me because it's at the bottom of the pan, and then the other 2 I just poured on top. Another easy way that you can make this is kind of like set it and forget it. You can put your greens in a crock pot, put that slow cooker, and just let them just do their thing all day while you pay attention to doing other things. So now my greens are ready. I will put a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper on them as we go. I've already salt and peppered them once, but I'll taste them just to see. And your taste buds are going to be your greatest ally because they're going to tell you if a little bit more seasoning is needed. If it is, just take a little pinch, put a little bit more, and that should take care of everything. You say this looks really, really full right now, but I'm going to tell you this won't be enough. Greens, especially spinach, it just likes to, I don't know where it goes, but it just kind of like withers away. So even though this seems full right now, once it starts to cook down, it's going to probably be about half of this. And which will be perfect for us because there's not a lot of people here today. So that's it on greens. Let's keep it moving. Next, we're going to start working on our mac and proceed to go ahead and do the mac and cheese. So I'm going to give you the ingredients so you can be working on that, and I'm going to tell you a cute little story. Okay, so I worked yesterday, so I waited till the last minute to do my shopping, and when I went into the store, I knew for my mac and cheese, which is my signature stamp on my mac and cheese, I must have Gouda cheese. That is a one must, that I must have Gouda cheese. I can do without some of the rest, but I must have my Gouda, man. So as I approached the section where they hold the cheese, I said, Lord, in the name of Jesus, I need to have my Gouda cheese. And as I'm looking, all of and it's a big cheese section that I go to. Okay, it's a really huge cheese section, and they got some gourmet cheeses and all that kind of stuff, but I wasn't seeing any Gouda. Every box of Gouda that I would find would be empty. And I said, no. I was on the phone actually with my fiance at the time, and I said to him, God's got some Gouda here for me, because I just know that I got Gouda. I'm sitting here talking to him on the phone, and I'm looking, and then I had to do a praise dance in the store because I found one little box all the way at the top. There was only 2 containers left, just 2. One was for me, and some was somebody else who maybe have been believing God for some Gouda. But I trust God with everything. Why not trust Him with my Gouda cheese, right? Okay, so I did, and I just expect that my macaroni and cheese is going to be spectacular. I can't wait to serve it to my family today. Some of the other ingredients that you might want to use is a blend of mixed cheeses. My mother was always big on sharps for cheddar and mild. So I always make sure that I incorporate a good sharp cheddar and a good mild. I'm not too big on American. I like to get mozzarella. That's one of my favorite ones that I use. And I usually will use like a 5 cheese blend and incorporate all that. So you want to make sure that you have your cheeses. And then what I do in making the sauce that I'm going to use for my mac and cheese is I use regular milk. I'll be using 2% today, just because it takes some of the fat off, and you gotta kind of try to take the fat off any way you can sometimes. So I'll take the fat off with using 2% milk. I also like to use a pet milk, or an evaporated milk is what it's called. Nestle's is my brand of choice that I use. I use that. I get me some eggs, I get me some butter, and of course some seasonings. And I blend all of that together because that's going to be the coating that's going to stick to that macaroni and that cheese, and it's just going to make it taste so good. So If you want to take this time to go gather some of the things that I just told you, now would be the perfect time, because my macaroni noodles are just about ready to be drained and strained so that we can get all of that starch off of there, and then we'll be ready to go in a few. I'll be right back. Okay, look at that. That's my cornbread, okay? I just took that out and it looks perfect. I cannot wait to get started with putting this dressing together. But first, we're gonna continue because I'm gonna let this bread cool a little bit, and then we'll get started with building our mac and cheese layers. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm only making a small batch of mac and cheese today because, like I said, there's not gonna be a lot of us here today. So I use my Corningware. That's my favorite dish of choice to make my mac and cheese in. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna start, real simple process. After you choose your macaroni noodles, I like to use elbow macaroni. And what you're gonna do is you're just going to strain it. You wanna wash some of that starchy stuff off. Just put it in a colander, see? Mine in the colander. Strain it off like that. That's what you're gonna do. And then you're going to start building your layers, okay? So I'm gonna put this like this so you can see me as I build my layers for my mac and cheese. I start off, the first thing I like to do is, I like to put, and you really don't have to, but I do. I like to put a little of the margarine all around the perimeters of my dish. And then I like to slather it at the bottom. Yeah, because you can't go wrong with too much butter, right? Well, actually you can, but in this case you can't. This dish complements the butter really, really well. Then what I like to do is I like to put a layer, just a layer, smooth it like nice and smooth, just like so. You see at the bottom of the pan? Put a little seasoning, so I'll pepper a little bit. Now I've already put some salt and pepper in my my little mixture here, so I'm not going to have to put too much of that in there. Okay, so you're going to strain your noodles in a colander, just like this, so that you can get them nice and starch free. And then the next thing I do is I put some butter on the perimeter of my pan. I place my noodles, my first layer at the bottom, and then that's how I start to build. I start putting my cheese. Now this is my mild cheddar. What I'm doing is I'm just going to put it in a nice layer. Here, you don't have to be too sparingly with it. You don't have to be too generous either, because you've got more noodles and stuff in there. I mix a bunch of different cheeses together. I'll have taco blend. I'll have a mild cheddar. I'll have a sometimes I'll have sharp cheddar with it. And like I told you guys earlier, my little testimony with my Gouda cheese. Okay, done that. Then I have my mixture that I made with my eggs, my carnation pet milk, my regular milk. I just like to get it nice and moist, that layer. Then I put on my next layer. Here we go. See that? And you just put that on and just smooth it across just like that. Y'all, cooking can be therapeutic too. It really can be, for the most part. Put a little butter in here too. I like putting a little butter. I love butter. This is not real butter. My family sometimes, they're sleeping on real butter, y'all. You know, they kind of buy into all this other stuff but nothing tastes better than real butter. But for the sake of doing this just today, we're going to use what we have. That was one of those items I wish I had remembered to get at the store. That's real butter. I want you guys to try my recipe, and I want you to let me know how yours turned out. Please tag me in your photos, or you can come on my Facebook page once I post a video, and in your comment section, if you made any of these items today, I want to see what yours looks like. The cheese here. Okay, again, I'm going to put a little bit more of this. That cheese on nice and moist. And I'm going to try to sneak a very thin layer of mac for the very top. And all the other extras. Just a little butter. You don't eat too much. Okay. I'm going to first put a little of this one on the top. And I'll take this blend. This is Monterey here in shredded cheddar. Isn't that looking pretty right there, y'all? Lastly, I'm gonna put the mild here. See how simple that was? It didn't take me very long to do it. Can't be afraid of getting your hands dirty, so to say, when you're cooking. Unless you're gonna wear gloves, which is okay too, but sometimes unless you get the fitted ones, gloves can really get in your way. And there you have it. Okay, so my mac and cheese is ready to go. I'm just gonna put one more layer, the rest of this nice little mixture of my milk, kinds of milks. Okay, that's that for that. This baby is ready to go into the oven. Okay, yum. Okay, so now it's time for me to put all of those ingredients together that we did before so that we can make the cornbread. The first thing I did was I'm using a Pyrex pan. It's a glass pan that you can bake with. It's the only kind of glass that you can put in the oven and it's not going to break on you. So make sure you're getting Pyrex if that's what you want to use as glass in your oven. So I took it and I filled the pan. Now I'm going to just put this aside because I'm going to work on building my dressing. Sometimes it gets a little hot in the kitchen, y'all, so I like to keep me a nice little beverage. My choice today is some Sprite with some ginger. And I mean, Sprite is real good. I mean, the whole Coca-Cola company, they're pretty good during the holidays with trying all these different types of flavors. You can get them with berries in them. This particular one has ginger. You can never go wrong with ginger, right? Ginger's real good for you. And because it's hot in the kitchen sometimes, that works. Okay, so now we've already put our pan to the side, a Pyrex pan that we have ready and waiting for us to be able to put the dressing in. This was our nice cornbread. See how nice that came out? You see I pinched a little bit out because I wanted to taste it, of course, because in tasting the bread, that's gonna set the tone for me to tell me whether I've got a good set of cornbread in my hands or not. You're just gonna dig in and start breaking that cornbread up. I put a little bit of water at the bottom of my my bowl here for the simple fact that I was 1 can short of my chicken broth, which is what I prefer to use when I'm making my dressing. But it's okay because I'm going to compensate. I'm going to use a little bit of the carnation milk, a little bit of the water, and that's going to give it the moisture that it needs. So see, my bread is now all broken up. It's all nice and fluffy in this bowl, and it's just waiting for me to add the rest of the ingredients. Now you may be asking, what ingredients are you going to add to that bread? Well, remember, earlier I chopped up those beautiful red and orange peppers. And a little tidbit that I didn't tell you guys about is when you are cleaning that turkey, you should have noticed that you had some livers in there, and you had some gizzards in there. So you're going to pan sear those as well. That's going to be a part of your dressing. And when it's all said and done, this is what you get. All of these colors. You're going to get your peppers, you're going to get your onions, you're going to get your gizzards, you're going to get your livers. This is what makes the dressing pop. This is what gives it all its color. This gives it all of its flavor. And this is what you're going to use to make your dressing. See, dressing is not as hard as I used to think it was. Few simple ingredients that you incorporate in there, and I am so glad that I chose to go with the orange peppers this time and the red ones, because look at all that color. Look at this. See all the color? It brings lots of color, and this is very moist, and you want it to be very moist because you're going to be putting it in the oven. You're going to bake it for about 20 to 30 minutes. And I'm just going to add just a little of my carnation milk to it, just a little bit like that. You could use a spoon if you want to. Like I said, I like to use my hands. My hands are clean. I wash them very, very well. Okay, so I decided to go with the smaller bowl. So they made the swap. I think that's better, and that's how we roll. So to say, sometimes you have to switch it up a little bit when you think what's best. Okay, so now this is all ready. I'm going to put this in the oven alongside with the mac and cheese so that it can start to cook. And then we're going to move it on. What do I have? Let's see, we have our greens cooking, our turkey's in the oven, our mac and cheese is in the oven. I'm putting the dressing in the oven. The next thing we're going to work on is my grandma's signature sweet potato pies. That's nice. You don't want to miss that. Now then, the next thing we're going to work on is my grandma's signature sweet potato pies. That's nice. You don't want to miss that. Again, I am not my grandma, so I'm doing things today that are easy as well as tasty. As you can see, pie crust in a bag, okay? There's 2 that come in here. You can get them for under $4. There you go, voila. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop these babies in the oven so that while we're making the mixture for the sweet potatoes, these can be browning just a little bit semi-cooked, because we're not going to let those sweet potatoes cook that long. So we don't want them to overcook and then the pie shells not be done enough. So we're going to put these in so we can get some browning effect going on right now. Okay, be right back. Okay, so the family is awake and people making noise. You might hear a little bit in the background, but I'm going to wrap this up for y'all real quick. Sweet potato pie. What you want to do is, like I said, you get your traditional crust in a bag. Unless you just want to take the time to sit there and make it and roll it like my grandma used to do. That's not me though. So you're going to toast it for a few minutes just so you get brown. And then what I did was, okay, you can either boil you some sweet potatoes or yams, or you can use the kind that come in a can. So this year, that's what I'm doing. I put them in a can. And I added Eagle brand milk. It's the sweetened milk. And then I added a little lemon extract, a little vanilla extract, and some cinnamon, and I blended those all together. So then what I did, in a blender, that's gonna go in my pie tin. It's gonna give it a nice light orange color. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to smooth it, and then this is going to go back into the oven to cook, to solidify. And then afterwards, I'm going to put a little whipped cream on it and some walnuts, and that is going to be our pie dessert, sweet potato style, with the little lemon zest to it. And that's it. Simple for me. Thanksgiving, everything is in the oven, on the stove, going into the oven. Now I'm just waiting for it to finish, and I am all set. So next thing you'll see is when I plate it and when I set the table. See you guys later. And look who wanted to help today. You gonna help, like, Skylar? Come on, Skylar.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Come here, baby. I need to.
There you go. That's very pretty. Thank you. Goes without saying, we must be thankful for everything that we have, not for what we don't have. There's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of loss that's been experienced throughout 2020, but still, don't get into the habit like most by saying, just throw the whole year away. 2020 is still the year of the Lord. The day is the day that the Lord has made for us to rejoice, for us to be glad in it. And with that being said, we have a lot to be thankful for. This has been the best year of increase that I have seen in a very, very long time, where God has been able to prosper me in spite of the pandemic. And for that, I'm very thankful. I'm thankful for my health and strength. I'm thankful for my loved ones. I'm thankful that we can serve a God who is God, who gives us the desires of our hearts, and who is for us and not against us. We all have so much to be thankful for. We have so much to be grateful for. And on a day like today, it's just the culmination of all of that. But it should be every day that we give thanks for everything that He has done.
Get off of that.
Does that look good, Booty?
Ooh, but that was good.
That look good? How that look, Landon?
It's all right.
All right, man. That's a bird of perfection. Look at that bird of perfection, y'all. Huh. Can't wait to eat that.